Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry about that. It's still turned up. Welcome everyone. Don't have a terribly long agenda, so we can get through this rather painlessly. We'll do a roll call. Myself, Tyler here, John Morris, President, Colin, President, Alan Kirshner, and I'm gonna assume he kind of forgot about the meeting.
I just called, got his voicemail.
Heather,
Present.
Doug Coleman, zoning administrator,
Present.
and Alexandria Cole, recording secretary. We have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Colin, second by Heather to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll make a motion that we appoint Alexandria Cole as the recording secretary for this board. Second.
Yes.
Second by myself. Or first, motion by myself, second by Heather. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to approve minutes from the previous meeting, which was April 17, 2025. Copy here if nobody else had a chance.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion by Colin, I'll second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Not going too fast. Good?
No, you're doing
Flying
fine.
through this
You're
too
fine.
quick.
You are in control, by the way, if we get going too fast, slow down.
Stop us.
I'll let you know. I'm gonna get that panic look on my face. You should know.
This time, is there any public comments on non-agenda related items?
Do you just know how far we're getting along with putting the planning commission meeting minutes online? I know they're working on doing an update for the whole village.
I don't know the answer to
Okay.
that. I think Lacey took these minutes to the last meeting, and Alexandria here will obviously have these meetings prepared next.
These will be posted, tonight probably.
Okay.
Well, they won't go online, but they'll
Yeah.
be ready and then they get approved at the next meeting.
Okay, yeah, I
Are you
just
looking
didn't,
for-
I just wanted to know how far we were to getting them online.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
these last ones were online.
Okay.
Are you looking for like more historical?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other non-agenda related items? Hearing none, we'll move on from that. This time, we'll open public hearing for the following special exemption use permit related to 716 Southwest Avenue, LRS LLC. Is that right, Deb?
Yes.
I'll go ahead. Okay, sorry.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Colin. Second by Heather to go to the public hearing. 6:04. Doug, I'll turn this over to you for the time being.
Good evening, everyone. I have given you a staff report regarding this request. This is a special exception use permit for 716 South Morris Avenue. Give you a little back history on this. So, back a few years ago, the village opted out not to allow marijuana establishments in the village of White Pigeon. It went pretty smoothly until several months ago, we had a petition presented to the village, both the village here and Montville Township, requesting a petition of referendum. A petition of referendum would be taking this to a vote of the people. And typically when referendums are requested, they come in and they want all 10 license levels, and they want unlimited of all 10 license levels. That for a small community could be catastrophic. And so to get ahead of the ball game, both the Village of White Pigeon and Montville Township went through, amended their zoning ordinance to allow retail marijuana establishments in specific zoning districts. They capped it at 2, and they allowed no other type of marijuana in the village, whether it's growing, processing, testing, transporting. The only thing that's gonna be allowed in is the 2 retail dispensaries. So we have taken control of it. We did amend our zoning ordinance to allow for it in the specific zoning district. And we have also created what's called a police-powered ordinance, which are the do's and the don'ts, the cans and the can-nots of what they do with their operation. As far as like hours of business, you know, if they're have to be closed on holidays, things like that. So that's how we got to where we're at today. So the village council did pass the police-powered ordinance and allowed to take in licenses or applications for licenses on April the 1st. They did receive 2. LRS is one of them. The village council has approved both this license and one other application to operate a retail marijuana establishment in the Village of White Pigeon. So in this request that you have before you this evening is 716 South Morris Avenue. It does fall within the GCLI zoning district, which is the district that, one of the districts that it is allowed in. It is a dispensary, a retail establishment is not allowed within 1,000 feet of a school. It's not allowed within 500 feet of a church. And it is not allowed within 100 feet from a residential building. This, although it is a little bit outside, Montville Township elected not to include any radius from a church. So we decided that it would be kind of unfair. On the east side of 131 is the village, on the west side of 131 is Montville Township. We just felt when we wrote the regulations that it would be unfair on the 131 corridor to put a church 500 feet away from a church that's in another township if they don't care whether they're there or not. So we did not restrict it from that area out there. So we do have the application that's been approved by the village council. Again, it does require a special exception use permit, which does require a public hearing. And so this was noticed in the newspaper, and a mailing was sent out to everybody within 300 feet of this parcel, well in advance of the 15-day noticing requirement. Those documents that those documents that I'm referring to are on page 13 of your staff report of the actual notice. On page 14 is the mailing list that was mailed out, and on page 15 is the 300-foot radius that was used to determine the property owners within that radius. As of today, I've had no communication by email, by mail, by verbal, either to support this request or be against this request. It does fall in the district. So as a planning commission, you have the authority to approve with conditions, or deny the request. The building was already there, so it's a renovation of an existing building, so there was not a site plan requirement to review on that. So basically, you are looking at reviewing section 250.703, number R, letter R is in Robert, that sets out the criteria in the zoning ordinance, page 6 of your report, Tyler.
I'm sorry,
6, highlighted in yellow. And then 250, 1300 is the conditions for a special land use permit. In reviewing this, I don't find any deficiencies with it. Based on the zoning ordinance. I would just caution everybody that, this is a kind of a hot topic no matter where you go. There's a lot of people that are in favor of this type of activity, and there's a lot of people that are opposed to this activity. We need to make sure that when we are making our decision, that we're making it based off our zoning ordinance. So it's certainly, my recommendation in the back of the report is, my recommendation would be to issue a special exception land use for this property. But I would offer, that I would approve it with conditions, and that condition is simply that, they must follow all federal, state, and local regulations, which would throw our local police power ordinance into play here. But as far as the zoning ordinance is a very small component of this whole request, and I see no reason, why you would not make the recommendation to move forward with it and make sure they follow the police power ordinance. So my recommendations on page 24 of your staff report continues on to just briefly onto the conclusion of 25. That is my recommendation for you this evening. I would certainly entertain any questions or concerns that you have.
Does anyone from the board have any questions for Doug regarding what you just said? Comments from the applicant or the representative?
I have one thing before. Justin, I just want to make sure, so the pictures you handed out, this is actually on the building, correct?
That's what it looks like now.
Is that going to be the name of the business?
Yes, sir.
That is not, we need to reflect, I would recommend the planning commission reflect that although it's being application turned in under LRS, it should also be recognized by a business name of Space Station.
Yeah.
Space Station Canvas Center.
So that's our kind of DBA, doing business as.
Space Station what?
Canvas Center.
Thank you.
Do you have this elevator?
No, I can get your copy. Thank you.
So any motions or recommendations, stipulations need to also encompass that name, so that there isn't any, well, I'm not LRS, I'm Space Station. You guys said LRS have restrictions, not Space Station. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to say right now.
Yeah, there's none of the paperwork that has been submitted, to my knowledge, even on the application to the village side, has got Space Station listed at all. So I think that LRS,
Based on an image, signage and local ordinance, there's no
Yeah, as far as the size of the sign or anything.
restrictions.
Is that just one side of the building that you have the space station logo?
So the logos are on the garage door,
Yep.
and then we actually have a company out of, I believe, Battle Creek that's doing the road sign.
Okay.
And we've been in conversation with the hydro company, because we're pulling off their power to run a lit sign. So that is gonna be the requirements that are on your guys' zoning for signs, as far as the height and the size that we can go.
I will have to look at this as far as wall size, I'm not sure. the
Yeah, I
answer to
don't
that
remember what
question.
it is for on a building. I think it's 32 square foot on a road side, but that's not the same thing.
Any other questions? We were to the, Justin's opportunity here to speak in
So LRS 3, for a lot of these companies, even when we buy from grows, the business that has a license might just be R&R real estate, but they're doing business as this grow shop. So that's kind of the name of what we're going, but our license with the state is obtained by LRS 3. And the state requirements as well as the local municipality requirements all fall under that license. So we are subject to any fines or anything the state has to do with that name or, yes.
LRS 3.
And then furthermore, I appreciate you guys letting us apply and have an opportunity. I know Niles is a similar city that was presented with something of this nature as well as Montville. And it kind of let it get out of hand, and they have about 3/4 of a mile, if you guys haven't seen it, 21 applications just went. It's crazy when you go on. And then a lot of the requirements as far as occupancy and just getting our final license, there will be a walkthrough with the local fire department, the police department, as well as the state. So we're not allowed to open like any other business without meeting every state and federal code.
Is there anything else, Justin? I think I just don't want to cut you short.
No, you're fine. Do you guys have any questions?
I'm sure there may be some more as we continue to progress here, but I just want to try to stay in line with the agenda, so we don't get too far out of line.
I have one question. With the LRS 3 and the space station cannabis center, does the paperwork need to be amended to include that name?
How do you suggest that?
No, so what, it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, the application going to the state for the state license is LRS. But I think, any place you look, if you pull up this picture and say, well, this business is nowhere listed on any of our paperwork, I think we should document in the record that LRS is also known as
Doing business as.
Doing business as space station.
Mike, I see you as.
Yeah, I have a question for Doug. I'm Mike Natole, I own the building, and they're leasing part of it from me. Doug, the stipulations for the police and fire department, is that in your report?
That's under their licensing requirement with the state, it's not in our zoning ordinance.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just wondering if,
Our
What they-
police powered ordinance would say they have to they have to be able to work with the police department, if the police department has reason, under state law, they have
okay,
certain parameters that they can go by.
okay, but it's not in writing in the report?
It's in writing at the
Well,
state,
yeah,
not locally.
it's at the state level, and then the city has a guideline of like
Okay.
regulations that we can and can't do.
Okay.
Not sure if that completely answers your
Yeah.
question, Mike, but we'll get.
Yeah, I would just,
We'll figure out what those parameters are for you.
yeah.
As soon as.
The police have stopped by a couple times already, and they've been real good about it. They just said we're gonna keep a close eye on everything and make part of our regular routine, and they're gonna come by a lot. I mean, they come by already, but they're gonna come by a lot more.
Now we'll move into the public, comments from the public. Anybody, Paige, do you have any?
Is there a date for tentative opening?
So, to that note, tonight, if we get the special use permit, I believe it takes 24 hours to go into effect, and that is the final piece to my application for the state for me to turn that in, to start that 30-day walkthrough process. So we are at the home stretch to be ready within those 30 days, but we can't submit this final piece of that 72-page application without the city license or the zoning matching.
That was it.
That was it.
Yep.
Your goal is soon.
Yes,
Sooner rather
and
than-
definitely before September, because that gets the city paid for the following tax year.
What is that date?
I want to say September 1st is when they do the final count of what dispensaries are open in the state, and that'll roll over to your first quarter.
Okay. Hearing no other public comment, I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
I will second that.
Motion by myself, second by Colin. Close the public hearing 21 minutes after 6. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Review the discussion by the planning commission. I guess this is the time where, we can ask any questions, talk amongst ourselves, which direction, we decide to go, regarding the application and Doug's proposal, based on his knowledge and experience. I highly respect his opinion, when it comes to most of these, scenarios, and that is that, we accept based on zoning and, with the recommendations that, special exception, must comply with all federal, state, and local regulations. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding that? I think I want to elaborate just a little bit on that. Only because, I don't want there to be any surprises down the road. I know Justin said that, the feds and the state require, police and fire to walk through. Who else was it?
It's the local fire department
Local
and
fire,
the
police, and-
police, and then the actual state is gonna send their agent to do
Okay,
the walk.
and the state agent, yeah.
And then,
The biggest thing I think we're gonna be faced with here, is modifications that have been made to commercial building without permit,
mhm.
you know what I mean? That's where the local, jurisdiction is gonna come into play. All these modifications and improvements were done without a permit, and the building official, the electrical inspector, the mechanical inspector, they're all gonna need their opportunity to go in and make sure that this was done to code, not only to protect the citizens that are gonna be frequently, visiting the establishment, but also the landlord and everyone else. So with that being said, I think you're up against a few hurdles, yet. Again, that's just what we know at the local level. State, and, well, I don't know much beyond, the local, rules and regulations. I know over in Sturgis, there was, some work done, the electrical inspector went in there and kinda had his way with, with the project, north of town. We have that same inspector here, as Doug prepares this, paperwork for this, and then that's shared with, Joe, right? This will all start to come to head, but most of the time, none of that work starts until this has been approved, the prints have been approved. I'm assuming these are licensed, an architect
Yeah.
licensed in the state of Michigan will have to be, stamped and sealed before Doug will issue any permits.
Absolutely.
No, I'm sorry, not Doug, but Joe, more so than Doug probably,
Well,
but,
they'll come to me in the packet and then I'll send it on to Joe.
yeah, so, I think that's where you're gonna see, Mike, your list of things that you want to make sure are checked off, you know what I mean? Beyond that, I've had several conversations with some of the neighbors, just outside of the mailing list, I think. But, you know, there's some people that are in opposition of the industry as a whole. There's some people that, you know, say, you know, certainly not what their business was built on, but from a financial standpoint, kind of makes sense. None of those people are here today, so I'm not really trying to use that to sway anybody's vote, but, you know, just going off some of the conversations I've had with some of the neighbors. Yeah, that's kind of what I've got to say about it. I don't know if there's any other discussion or comments or concerns anybody else wants to bring up, but.
I will just tell you, Tyler, that I understand what you're saying, and I think I mentioned it before. There's people that are opposed to it, and there's people that are for it. One of the things we looked at when we decided to move forward to try to control the number, we looked at the last two votes that were taken about marijuana,
Yep.
and it passed in the village.
Yep. So,
again, it's a personal issue that I really would like to stay out of, but based on a vote of the people, if that would come to a referendum, they probably would have voted unlimited licenses, so, but I understand what you're saying, yes. And you could certainly, if you wanna put in the special use permit, that a certificate of occupancy for the renovation has to be obtained before the special use permit is issued, that's fine.
I like that verbiage. I couldn't repeat it the way you just did, but if you were able to write that down, I'd like to include that.
But I think-
Certificate of occupancy.
So I think, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, so if I say this and it's not what you mean, let me know, but, so I think, if I'm understanding everything correctly, you would be approving the special use permit with the following conditions. Number one, that they abide by all federal, state, and local rules.
Yep.
Number two, they have to go out and get the proper permits and a certificate of occupancy for the building after it's been renovated. And thirdly, that there will be a condition or an understanding that LRS is also known as Space Station Cannabis.
Yep. That's exactly how I would understand it. Tom?
Sounds good.
Just a quick question, I'm sorry. With that second condition, would that still allow us to apply at the state level? Or I'm afraid I'll never be able to get the occupancy from the state without this license?
Would you be being dishonest if you applied and said you were gonna be open by a certain date and weren't?
Well, I have to attach this license, I have to attach the zoning.
I don't, knowing that the state takes time to do it, I don't have a problem in giving him the special use permit because the conditions are gonna be there.
Yeah.
So he will have to have a certificate of occupancy before he turns the key in that lock
Yeah.
and open it to the general public.
Is,
So we would be approving this with those stipulations, so after this 24 hours, he would have his approval to apply to the state.
It doesn't even take it'll take 24 hours
Yeah.
because I'm not going home right. There's nothing in the law that says you have to wait 24 hours. It's just how quick I get it taped up.
Oh, but you can bother me at night.
Your wife gave me permission.
yeah, that's all beyond me, Doug.
I can
I'm
handle-
just looking out for, you know, all the other business owners in the community that have been encouraged and made to do things right and in order, you know what I mean?
I don't
And,
dispute what you're saying.
you know, I got my tail in trouble, you know, long ago. And
I wanna apologize for that too. The electrician we had out there, I think we're gonna have to use another gentleman that came out and looked at it. He was supposed to send it 2 weeks ago, somehow it went to the township, and then Scott, I believe, from Sturgis pulled our HVAC along with John on the electrical side for that, so I think we're gonna stick with John.
The three conditions, just to be clear, so an approved special use permit, the certificate of occupancy, and all passing permits that are required for that. And then a condition or understanding that LRS 3 is also known as Space Station Cannabis Center.
Say that very first part, what you said again, please.
An approved special use permit, or?
So we're gonna issue a special use permit,
Yes,
and then the others are conditions that go with the special use permit.
okay. So they fall underneath that.
Exterior illumination. Is there any plan to do anything more than what you already have, or?
Yeah, we're gonna add more lights to the outside that'll illuminate basically the corner of his building going towards the storage units, and then along the side of where we're parking and doing business, as well as one going towards like the factory RV, Scott's building.
Yeah.
So did this person that drew your drawings up, did they do a photometric plan?
I would have to ask her if is that like a certain terminology?
A photometric plan is the lights and how far. the
Oh,
kids
all
go.
that's being added, yes. So that's on a separate one. That was just the preliminary on the inside, and then I think there's a safety plan on the back that was attached, but that doesn't have the parking and lighting plan attached to it.
Right, we'll need a photometric plan as well.
Okay.
That stuff's all encompassed in the smoke pool, right? Yeah, we can sit here and come up with little things like this all night that, you know, state and local ordinances will,
If this was a new building under construction,
you know what I mean?
if this was a new building under construction, we'd be looking at parking, we'd be looking at lighting, we'd be looking at landscaping.
Okay.
But this is a pre-existing building that, you know, a lot of times people will renovate hang lights on the outside of a pre-existing building, and we never know
We're
about
gonna
it.
get opportunity to, yeah, not until the neighbor complains about it, and then,
Exactly.
you know, we're out there dealing with it then.
But if we were truly doing a site plan, he would have to do the photometric plan, and we're just gonna, and you can make that as part of your requirements as well.
I just would prefer that's all. Wouldn't Joe catch that, or not
But
necessarily?
if he does a
Electrical
photometric plan, I can look at it to our zoning ordinance and say, yes, this photometric plan follows suit with.
I mean, I just don't want to see, this place lit up like a space station. So
No.
You know what I mean? And, you know, they're captured in GPS signals, you know, from the other side of the country, just as a marketing tool.
No, we still have to follow your local sign and light ordinance on brightness.
But you're putting in that they have to follow all local regulations. So
Yeah.
part of the zoning ordinance is a lighting plan. So if they start doing all those big lights that go up in the.
Yeah, McDonald's or somebody used to do that, where they had those
Yep.
crazy.
That's a no.
Yeah, that would be in violation of our local ordinance, so we can take care of it.
Okay.
So those are already covered by something.
All right, does anybody want to, move on with this, or? I'll make a motion that we approve the, special use permit, for LRS 3/Space Station Campus Center, with the conditions, discussed and noted. Wait a second. We have a motion with support, we'll do a roll call, for this, right, Doug?
Yes, please.
So if you could just go through that.
Colin?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Heather? Yes. Tyler?
Yes. which are the, yeah, we're missing one, so, I guess you would note that, Al was not present. So, motion's carried. Is there any other business coming before the board? We did discuss, last meeting, spending some time, John, you weren't here, but, looking through the ordinance book and trying to challenge ourselves to, dive into that and make some more additions and modifications as time goes on. I have not had the opportunity to do a whole lot of that. I'm not sure if anybody else has either.
Just
but-
talking, kind of reading through a couple chapters, and, you know, Johnny, you bring a different perspective to the board than I do. I'm a resident, you're a business owner.
Right.
So if, you know, if there's things that you see that would fit, say, a business, we'd have it real this way in the book, and say, well, you know, there's a lot of things we could change, say, a lot size ordinance to fit a certain type of business or something. Just kind of, what could we do as a board to make it so a business coming into town doesn't have to come to get, say, a board of review to change an ordinance or get a revision, or what's the word I'm thinking of?
Change of use.
Yeah, just something we could do to ease residents and business owners from having to come ask us to change something. Let's see if we can make the book fit our community a little bit better. I think it's very good, but I think there's some places where we could improve that. And I've got a few notes for in the future, things. Like I said, don't go through the whole book at once, take a chapter or two, wherever. you
It's
have
gonna
time.
take time, and we're all busy. There's no deadline, but just wanted to kind
And
of
one
get
of
it
the
on
things-
people's radars so that, you know, the opportunity.
One of the things I talked to Jeff today was about, you know, maybe we don't have to do every quarter, you know, every quarter we're gonna have a meeting. Try to pick something, we don't have to necessarily amend that right now, but maybe we could get 2 or 3 things and then say at the end of the year, Doug could go ahead and do all those at once, maybe save him a little time and us a little money, because that's gonna cost money to change those things in the book. Try to get a little more bang for our buck, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna have a lot more business coming in town, so.
Yep. Yep.
So it's got to be much.
Yeah. But that's a good perspective, like you being a business owner, I'm glad you bring that side of things to the board. So glad to have you here.
I will tell you that probably your next meeting, we will be holding a public hearing for the master plan. I think it's finally to the point where we can move forward. I will just tell you that the county, we did the countywide master plan. It's taken a lot longer than I anticipated. It's taken a lot longer than what they anticipated. It's difficult because the guy that's reviewing it and kind of putting it together is semi-retired and only works 1 day a week. So he comes in and tries to catch up and do it, and I think some of the times between that and the other duties he has, he forgets where he's been or where he's gone. And so a lot of times we get an email that says, hey, we need to do this, and it's already been done. So, I have reviewed it pretty much, picking out a few things for them. Again, I think it's taken a lot longer than what anybody anticipated. I wanna hope that I don't get a black eye out of this at the end of the day, because this was my recommendation to the county to see if they would do a countywide master plan. At the end of the day, I still think it's the best thing in everybody's interest, because right now, to get a master plan done by a planning affiliate, you're looking at $25,000 to $40,000, and this is costing every municipality in the county that joined it, it's costing them $3,000. There are some of the portions of the master plan that are not gonna affect you. You know, for example, Colin Township is part of the countywide master plan. We don't have any authority over the Colin Township, but when we adopt the master plan, it will be all the maps, it will be a special section for the village of White Pigeon. And at the end of the day, we'll have a plan that was written by a planning company that should know what they're doing. And that will reset our master plan clock for 5 years. So hopefully we'll be ready to roll with public hearing at our next planning commission meeting.
Sounds good. Thanks for the update, Doug.
Do we have a date for the next, scheduled planning commission meeting at this time?
No. We don't, it's not until
Yeah.
next quarter.
Yeah.
That'd be July.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just missed you guys. in
cause the
April.
last one was in April.
Yeah, holiday, yeah.
So, yeah. July
Yeah, this one's scheduled special,
Gotcha.
because Justin's so special.
I just holiday late in April, I would have made it easy for you guys back then.
All right, well, July 17th. I'll make a motion we adjourn. Second by Heather. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.